Before the angels fell from heaven, or rather, departed heaven to experience human life, there was a legend about a strong goddess named Naamah. She has a unique gift, the capacity to charm and attract others via her music and magic. However, Naamah was not alone in her mischief. She banded together with a group of ladies known as the Nashiim. Naamah and the Nashiim devised a terrible scheme to seduce the celestial beings known as the Watchers. These Watchers were intrigued by mortal ladies and wished to be with them. It was reported that Naamah's enticing melodies and the Nashiim's enchantments drew mortal women to these angelic creatures. Once, they used their charms to deform the mortal women's appearances and spirits, making them even more appealing. Signs of spiritual ecstasy lingered about these women, drawing the Watchers ever closer. Azazel and Samayaza were two of the most vulnerable Watchers. Naamah's alluring song echoed across the skies, bringing Azazel and Samayaza into the mortal realm. Despite knowing the implications, they succumbed to the temptation and laid with the human ladies, swept away by passion and entranced by Naamah's music. Okay, let's start at the beginning. It stated that God created Naamah, Agrit, and Ishith as potential spouses for Adam in the event that he rejects Eve. Adam proposed to each of them, but only Eve accepted after the others refused him. After abandoning Adam and Eve to their own devices, Michael most likely led Naamah and her sisters out of the garden. God forcibly removed Naamah and Lilith from their abode on the border of the Red Sea. Beelzebub met Naamah while she slept by the Red Sea, just before the war in heaven. Beelzebub became enamored with her, and they began a sexual connection as a result. Abazethebu, who fought alongside his father in the Civil War, was born shortly after their union. Following the war in heaven and the fall of man, Naamah and her sisters banded together to become demon queens, ruling the eastern quarter, Damascus, as Satan's consorts. According to the Zohar, Adam and Eve were separated for 130 years after Cain murdered Abel. During this time, Naamah pays him a visit and gives birth to demonic progeny, the Nashiim. While these plagues are also frequently attributed to Lilith, the stories vary as they all do. She and the other succubi cause children to get epilepsy. Again, another Zohar myth asserts that Naamah, along with the Nashiim, corrupted Samayaza and Azazel. The Watcher's passion for mortal women was fueled by Naamah, a goddess of sexual liberation and sacred erotic rituals. It is said that Naamah and the Nashiim developed a spell to distort the women's appearances and souls, making them extremely appealing, even to angelic beings. Their polluted spirits would leave indications of spiritual rapture, and the Watchers, particularly Azazel and Samayaza, would finally succumb to Naamah's musical seduction and lie with the human women. The majority of human depravity was also generated by Naamah's actions, which allowed her to trap Azazel's diminishing intelligence and tempt the once great Watcher by absorbing every pile of sins into a goat, which Azazel then devoured. She made Azazel whisper in mortal ears. When the Watchers developed a lust for mortal women, Azazel, like his siblings, urged humans to commit even greater sins. As a result, individuals indulged, sometimes excessively. Nobody was clear when to give up. When the archangels approached, Naamah fled, evading God's wrath and the great flood. It is also said that Solomon, after the flood, was similarly entranced by her, mostly to persuade the great monarch to release her son Abazethebu. However, this proved unsuccessful, and Naamah was understandably enraged, especially because her skills were unable to break the sacred wall around Solomon's temple. She then sought Agrit for assistance, requesting that he bring her daughters, whom she had conceived through Solomon's father David, into the temple so that they could tempt the king both psychologically and physically after they were married. They were successful in convincing Solomon to quit worshipping God, causing him to lose control of the demons he had slain, particularly Abazethebu. Naamah is a spirit associated with women's sacred erotic rituals and sexual autonomy. Naamah rules the thrilling junction of sex, spiritual rapture, and music. Her constituents are people who understand and endeavor to achieve this concept. Given that she has been portrayed as a succubus, angel, demon, and human, she is presumably capable of changing her race at will. She is widely known as Lamech's daughter. This Naamah is the equivalent of the one mentioned in Genesis. She, like her mortal counterpart, is regarded as the patroness of music and divination. Her other succubi include Agrit Bat Malat, Lilith, and Aisha Zanunim, also known as the Grand Succubi and Queens of Lust. She is also known as one of the 4 prostitution angels. She is commonly referred to as the charmer or the mother of divination. While Lilith and Naamah have a similar appearance, Lilith is characterized as more sensual, youthful, and lovely, as well as having corrupted the fallen angels and their leader, Samiaza. Naamah is a complicated figure in Jewish mysticism and folklore, with roots in both the Bible and mystical traditions. While she is not directly referenced in the Bible's canonical books, she occurs in a variety of extra-biblical sources and rabbinical literature. Some interpretations identify Naamah as one of Adam's wives and the mother of his offspring. She is sometimes linked to Cain's ancestry, as his descendants are thought to have inherited her knowledge of sorcery and forbidden arts. In mystical traditions, Naamah is also associated with the fallen archangel Samael, with whom she is claimed to have forged a bond. This connection with Samael adds depth to her character, as she becomes entangled with the darkest aspects of heavenly learning and spiritual revolt. While the specifics of Naamah's character and narrative varied between sources, she remains a fascinating figure in Jewish mysticism, encapsulating themes of temptation, mystery, and the mysterious interplay between the holy and earthly worlds. According to rabbinic tradition, Naamah was the wife of Noah, the righteous patriarch selected by God to survive the Great Flood. Her name, which means pleasant or pleasing, implies that her activities were good and admirable, bringing joy and favor from God. However, another reading of Naamah's character offers a different viewpoint. According to this narrative, Naamah acted inappropriately, utilizing her musical talents to seduce others into idolatry and corruption. She is claimed to have played a drum, luring people into evil behaviors and leading to the moral deterioration of society. This view is based on a distinct reading of Naamah's name, which is derived from the Hebrew word enigma, meaning melody or song. In this perspective, Naamah's musical abilities are viewed as a tool for seduction and enticement, bringing people away from the path of righteousness. These differing perspectives on Naamah's character highlight the intricacies of her role in rabbinic tradition. Some picture her as a saintly character, while others see her as a symbol of moral compromise and temptation. Through these opposing readings, Naamah emerges as a multifaceted character who challenges us to explore the complexities of human nature and the implications of our acts. According to the Midrash Haggadah and other later texts, Naamah's beauty was unrivaled, enticing even angels. Because of her exceptional beauty, she was portrayed as one among the elements that contributed to the union of angels and human women in Genesis 6 verse 2. In later midrashic and mystical literature, Naamah's figure develops into that of a seductress capable of ensnaring both human and supernatural beings. She is portrayed as the wife of Shamanim, a demonic entity, and their union is thought to have resulted in Asmodeus, the mighty demon ruler. In addition to her part in the creation of Asmodeus, Naamah is linked to Lilith, another figure in Jewish tradition. Together, they are portrayed as terrible powers that damage infants and harass people while they sleep, representing the worst parts of the supernatural. These versions of Naamah's character demonstrate how her portrayal has evolved over time, from a lovely and enticing woman to a figure of temptation and malevolence. Through these stories, Naamah represents the pitfalls of unbridled desire and the consequences of deviating from the path of righteousness. Indeed, the portrayal of Noah's wife, Naamah, in rabbinic literature is diverse, with several perspectives forming over time. While some traditions highlight her great beauty and virtues, others paint her in a more negative light, portraying her as a wicked seductress capable of enslaving both men and supernatural beings. In older scriptures, Naamah is frequently depicted as exceedingly lovely, enchanting even the angels with her beauty. However, in later midrashic and mystical literature, such as the Zohar, her character undergoes a change, revealing a more malevolent side. Naamah is portrayed as a seductress of men and demons, using her allure to beguile and corrupt. This negative assessment of Naamah's character echoes larger themes of temptation, desire, and the consequences of deviating from the path of holiness found in Jewish mystical literature. Naamah's portrayal as a wicked seductress serves as a cautionary tale, reminding readers of the dangers of giving in to worldly cravings and the consequences of moral compromise. The various representations of Naamah in rabbinic literature demonstrate her complexity and the range of interpretations throughout Jewish tradition. Whether considered as a paragon of beauty and morality or a temptress of sinister appeal, Naamah's story continues to captivate and intrigue readers, prompting them to reflect on the intricacies of human nature and the eternal conflict between good and evil. I appreciate your viewing.